Welcome back. You are still live with Expresso, and time now to focus on the environment, especially in light of the horrifying statistic released in our news bulletin that South Africa sits 11th on the list of most polluted countries in the world. So let's push back. The 6th to the 10th of September is Zero Waste Week, an award-winning week-long campaign that aims to raise awareness about the negative environmental impact of waste. We see it every day. Green School South Africa, which opened its doors in February of 2021, which is amazing, has been pursuing a zero-waste policy since the construction of its school campus began. And Bruce James, the school's head of gardens, joins us on the couch to tell us a little bit more about this campaign. Nature boy, meet nature man.
Bruce,
morning.
I'm excited.
I'm surrounded by nature people. I love it, man.
I'm also a little bit upset because I'd never ever heard of this concept before. Tell me about this, man. Green School South Africa. Is it a school where you learn, or is it just gardening and like all the good stuff? Tell me about this.
So it's still a school that you learn at. So we have from grade 00 right up to grade 8 at the moment, and then we'll gradually add a grade on per year. But we do normal school, but we have a space. It's sustainably based, and we do get the kids out in the garden, and we teach them concepts outside as well as inside. But yeah, still school, but environmentally based.
Could I still possibly enroll? Maybe just I read too much.
Listen, he has a few gaps in the educational path. I was lucky enough to benefit for just a couple of years in an environmentally driven school, and it changed my life. It really did. So being able to immerse a child in that for their entire schooling career is phenomenal to me. Let's focus on what's happening right now. Obviously, Zero Waste Week is something that, thankfully, the world has embraced. It should be every day, not just 1 week of the entire year. And as I understand, it started in the UK, but we seem to have adopted it here in South Africa. Is it working? Clearly not, if we look at what's going on. How do you feel about where we stand at the moment?
So I think there is, as you mentioned, it's like we're at the height of plastic pollution at the moment. It's not any better than it's ever been, but people are speaking about it, which is good. We need to get that motivation to people, get it out there, and there are people following it and people pushing it. There's shops and things that were never open before, like Shop Zero. They have a pop-up shop at our school this week, so pushing that there are alternatives. We don't have to be sitting on this plastic sort of wave that can keep on going. There are alternatives, and let's work towards it and get it going.
Working towards zero waste policy as well, which is something which I believe is quite big in the school. How exactly are you doing that? Because it is easier said than done. We have so much waste as it is, the way we consume as human beings. How are you eradicating that? Yeah,
so it's been a reality for us for day one. We've been living this zero waste project, and it's been a huge learning curve. So it's not just click, find, and you'd sort it. There's been a lot of research that's been going into it. And the school's been doing things like we have our own on-site kitchen in the school, and the kids eat at school, a morning snack and a lunchtime snack. So nobody brings their lunch boxes in, and that cuts packaging hugely. And then all our waste from our kitchens and from our gardens, we compost in a big way. So we produce 6 to 8 cubic meters of compost a month. And that all gets fed back into our gardens, and we have a massive vegetable garden which we grow our produce. So it's a bit of a circular economy in the compost system. And the kids get drawn into this, and they learn each step that thrown away is not away. We try and teach them right through the steps. So when you scrape your plate off, okay, now what? Take it down to the compost heap.
In the process.
And it's not just throw it in the compost heap. So all our cooked food we put through a bokashi system and ferment it, and then that makes it available for composting. And all our raw food is separated from our cooked food, and that also gets composted. So yeah, it's just we're trying to immerse the kids in this and show them that this is a reality, that it is possible to live.
It becomes a culture. It becomes a culture, which I think is the biggest issue in South Africa, is that an innate respect of your environment. We've disconnected with that for some reason, and that cultural shift is absolutely vital. But as you said, it's been a learning curve. So maybe we can round off with some tips of advice for other schools, because schools become a great way, an opportunity, a gateway to a community to be able to spread that cultural influence. What is your advice for other schools wanting to go green and approach zero waste or less waste?
So I think finding out who your local recycling guys are and making a relationship with them and finding out what actually is recyclable. you hear in the media, you can recycle pretty much everything. The reality is very little of what is said to be recycled can be recycled. Finding out from them what can be recycled is like the first step. And then partnering with organizations like the Glass Recycling Company, Collector Can, any of those guys, they have a lot of school initiatives where they'll come and drop a bin off at your school. And a lot of them run competitions. So if you do really well in collecting glass and things, you can actually come out with cash prizes and stationery prizes at the end of the year. And because we're quite a small school, we have then partnered with our community and with the parents to increase the glass intake, and local restaurants, which is a great thing. So we then are ensuring that their waste streams are actually getting recycled and not ending up in a landfill.
You are the green school. You are. It's just amazing to me. Now, I've done so much work with schools and communities, and I think people often miss that opportunity. Yes, you're teaching a younger generation that ultimately are going to be the custodians of the country that we leave, but those kids will influence their parents. It really does spread out. I'm so impressed by what you guys do every day. Thank you for literally putting your money where your mouth is and living by the zero waste principle. I know it comes with great challenges. And yeah, one day look forward to eating a meal at the school. It's amazing.
You can come visit me when I enroll, and I'll make you something in the kitchen.
Thank you, man.
Perfect. But Bruce,
Great.
thank you so much, man. You've been a brilliant part of what I think is just paving the way for a good future, especially with our youth as well. So instilling it in these youngsters is something essential. So I can't thank you enough for that. And of course, Green Schools, you can check them out online. And if you've got any kids, then you definitely want to enroll them in the school, because this is where the future is at. We'll be continuing the conversation. We're continuing everything about going green and reducing our waste in just a bit. But let's find out first up what's happening in the news with Jamie Lee Downberg.